Hey guys, Sarahasnolife here, and this is my second video, and I'm going to start my new playlist, and it is going to be on diabetes. This isn't going to just touch one specific type or one certain part of it. Every video is going to cover different information, type 1, type 2, gestational diabetes, all different kinds, all different types, everything involved with it. But today I'm just going to do an introduction video, and I wanted to do this video because a lot of people are misinformed or not educated on diabetes, how to treat it, what to do in certain situations, don't know exactly what it is, don't know the difference between certain types, all the stuff that's involved with it. And what motivated me to do this was I have type 1 diabetes, my grandma has type 2, and my boyfriend also has type 1. And a lot of times I will go over to a friend's house and they tell their grandparents or their parents or their aunt or uncle or whatever, oh, she has diabetes, and they'll be like, oh, okay, so we need to have something like salad for dinner. And I'm like, no, I can have fried chicken and pizza just like everyone else. Mine's not controlled by diet and exercise. It's type 2, or oftentimes you hear stuff like, oh, my grandma has diabetes, and it's like, it's not the same kind. It's not treated the exact same. Even people who are type 1, not every type 1 is treated the same. So this video is going to inform you on the basic facts of diabetes. To start, there are 3 different types of diabetes that I'm going to be touching in this video. There's gestational diabetes, and this is pretty much all I'm going to touch on this one in this video. Gestational diabetes happens during pregnancy. It's when you have the baby and you have diabetes while you're pregnant. And usually it goes away within a couple weeks after you deliver the baby, and then that's it. So that's all I'm going to be touching on that one. And then we'll go to type 2 next, because that's the one I have the least information about to give in this video. That's what my grandma is. My grandma's the type 2. Type 2 diabetes is a resistance to insulin, or it's when some of your beta cells, those are the cells that produce insulin, have died, but not all of them, so you're still producing some, but not as much as you need. Type 2 diabetes is controlled by either pills. Some cases do require insulin shots, or diet and exercise. A lot of people who are overweight or obese get type 2 diabetes, and once they go on a diet and exercise and they lose all that weight, their beta cells start to reproduce, their immune system stops attacking itself, so they start producing insulin normally again, and the type 2 diabetes will go away. They just have to maintain a healthy weight and a healthy lifestyle. And next is type 1. That's what I have, that's what my boyfriend has. I have had type 1 diabetes for almost 7 years now, and my boyfriend has had it for 15. He is 19. So, type 1 diabetes, we do not produce insulin at all. Our immune system has attacked itself and killed off all of our beta cells. We produce no insulin. So, we require insulin shots. There are 3 different ways that you can get your insulin as a type 1 diabetic. First, there is a pump or a pod. That is, it is attached to you. It's a pod. They're generally about this big if it's a pump, or if it's a pod, somewhere around this big. And the pod will just attach to the back of your arm, your stomach, your thigh, your lower back or butt, wherever there's fatty parts, because that's where you inject the insulin. The needle stays in you, and you change your site every I don't know, I think couple of days. I'm not so sure. I haven't read much up on the pump because I've never had one. But I know that the pod you have to change like every 3 days and stuff like that. And then there is the old-fashioned, the vial and the syringe. You draw it up and give it to yourself and throw away the syringe and use a new one every time. And then there's what I use. Those are pens. Pens look like this. This is Novolog Flex Pen. This is my short-acting insulin. Short-acting insulin you take 15 minutes before your meal, and it will act about the same time that you eat, so you don't have any spikes and you don't have any lows in your blood sugar. And with this, it acts anywhere between 15 minutes to 2 hours. The Novolog, there's more than just one type of short-acting. There's Humalog. I was on that for the first 3 years I was diabetic, but became resistant to that one, so I switched to Novolog. With the pen, there's the cap, and you pull this off. The insulin is stored in here. This one's empty. And then there's the needle. You can twist it off, and you twist it on. That's how you get it on. And then there's this little cap, and you pull that off, and that's where the needle is. See? And you take this and you dial up how many units you need. I can't dial it because it's empty, but you dial that, and then you take the needle, wipe it with alcohol, and just stick it in and push the button. Count to 10 seconds, pull it out, and rub the area to make sure that the insulin is spread around and will be absorbed properly. The next insulin I use is also a pen. I only use pens. I only ever have. This is long-acting. This is Lantus Solo Star. This is long-acting. It acts for 24 hours. I have to take it at the same time every day, or it will not work. I take 47 units of this, which is quite a lot, but I am a big girl, so it takes a lot of insulin. And see, you just dial it up, and you push the button and inject how much you need. This is set up the same way as the Novolog. It's in here. And then this pushes the insulin out, and the needle, it twists off and on the same way. So that's the difference between long-acting and short-acting, and that's what a pen is. A diabetic will generally take insulin. They're short-acting at least 3 times a day, preferably more, because you're supposed to eat not only 3 meals a day, but snacks in between to keep your metabolism going. So a good goal range for a diabetic is to take your insulin 5 times a day, at least. That's your short-acting. Plus, you have to take your long-acting once a day. You can't get away with just the short-acting. That is a bad idea. That's how you end up in the hospital. A diabetic will also check their blood sugar for 4 times a day, at least. They use this. This is a glucometer. It comes in many different shapes, sizes, colors, different brands. But they're all the same idea. You take the glucometer, and then the test strips, and I'm going to check my blood sugar on camera, just so y'all can see how this works. Test strip, the gold part goes up, it'll beep the code. Take this, and mine has 6 lancets, which are the little needles in one, so I have to switch it over to a new one. And then you prick your finger. Well, you should use alcohol first, but I did not. And then take the blood, check it. It'll tell you how many milligrams. I am at 208. That's backwards, sorry. 208 is actually pretty high, so I should take some insulin, which I will do after this video. But that's what it's like to check your blood sugar. We do that at least 4 times a day. At least. You must always know what your blood sugar is, because it is always changing. Every little thing that you do in your day, everything you do in your life will affect your blood sugar in a different way. Cinnamon, exercise, anything physical, running, jogging, playing sports, walking up and down stairs, even having sex is physical, burns calories, also makes your blood sugar go down. Things that can make your blood sugar go up are carbs, sugar, and protein will make the sugar and carbs that you do eat last longer. So those things make your blood sugar go up. In addition, there's stress and depression. Those will make your blood sugar go up. Everything you do will affect your blood sugar, so you have to make sure it's in a goal range. The goal range for every diabetic is different. Generally, if you're starting out, they'll give you a little more leniency with your goal because you're new to this. You don't know how to do it. But it depends on how old you are. If you're new to this, if you know what you're doing. When I was diagnosed, I was 10 years old, so I didn't know what I was doing. So they were like, low 200s, high 100s is okay, but we like you below 160. Now, as a 17-year-old, I've had it for 7 years, my goal range is different. I'm supposed to be in between 80 and 120. That's a very tight range. I'm rarely ever in that range. I'm not the most responsible diabetic, but that's the goal range. One other thing that diabetics do is carb counting. If you see a diabetic before they take their shot, roll their eyes up a little bit, and it looks like they're thinking, they're probably carb counting. Every diabetic has a different ratio for their short-acting insulin. When I first started out, my ratio was 1 unit for every 12 grams of carbs. So if I had 48 grams of carbs, which would probably be a meal, for younger me at least, that would be 4 units of short-acting insulin. And as I have progressed, I have a certain resistance to the amount of insulin that I take. So my ratio has changed. I'm on 1 unit for every 5 grams of carbs, which is ridiculous. That is a very strong ratio, and not very many diabetics are on that. So now if I have a 48 gram carb meal, I'm taking 10 units because we have to round up. So I have to take 10 units, whereas before I would have to take 4. That's 60% more insulin. That is a lot of insulin going into my body. With insulin, you have to put the correct amount of insulin in your body. If you do not put enough, you are going to have a spike. If you put too much, you are going to have a low. The difference between a high and low blood sugar, there are different symptoms, and if you have any diabetic friends, you should be able to recognize these. High blood sugars are headaches, thirsty, peeing a lot, sick, throwing up, and then lows, dizzy, speech slurring, stumbling around, hungry, ravenous, cold sweats, stuff like that. It's different for every diabetic, but those are the general warning signs. To treat these, for a high blood sugar, you must check the ketones. If you have ketones, you need to drink a bunch of water and keep urinating to flush the ketones out of your body. Ketones are usually what makes you throw up. And then with a high blood sugar, you also have to take insulin and monitor your blood sugar to make sure it's coming down, but not too much. If your blood sugar comes down too many points at a time, too fast, it will affect you badly. And then lows are very, very dangerous. They can cause brain damage. With a low, you can pass out very, very easily. Not me. I can be at 23 and still conscious, talking away, but yeah. To treat a low, carbohydrates, sugar. Your friend will generally tell you what you need to give them or what they need you to get for them so they can fix that. But if they are unconscious, they may have a glucagon, which comes in a case about this big, and it's red. It has instructions on the inside to inject it into them to get the carbs fast. Diabetics should carry around glucose syrup, icing, stuff like that, and just squirt that in their mouth. Pour sweet tea in their mouth with extra sugar in it, soda, all of that has a lot of carbs and will slide down their throat easily if they are passed out, so that they will raise back up, and then when they are conscious, ask them questions. Are you okay? Are you okay? So, yeah, that's the basics of diabetes, how to treat a high and low, difference between type 1, type 2, and gestational, basic facts. I will be doing another video on this shortly, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, who knows when I have time. But I thank you guys for watching my video. This means a lot to me, and I'm glad I was able to get my word out on diabetes. So thank you very much. Bye, guys.